show covering the third annual FlyCo Mini IndieCon at Flying Colors Comics and other cool stuff. One of our sponsors. With us, you've seen him here before, is Ben Ferrari from Pilot Studios. Ben, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm great.
So let's get right into it. We some of the regulars have seen stuff before, like Hitler's America. I remember that.
Right.
What do you have? Let's start with the new stuff. What do you have new this year?
Well, I'd say my flagship book is called The Carriers, Weaponized Carrier Pigeons and Their New York Adventures. So I've done probably 6 or 7 now. Just last week I got a new one called The Carriers in Storm of the Century. And basically there's a huge flood and storm in New York City. And the trick is to, what do the carriers do to help out all these other animals who are in danger? So art by Kurt Belcher, story by J.D. Arnold. That's Carriers, Storm of the Century. And then The Croc King, Carriers in The Croc King, is about introducing a subterranean alligator in the depths underneath New York City. And so they have a big adventure with...
Wait, there's alligators in New York?
There are alligators in
the
no, of course not, in the sewers of New York City, and so he's a big baddie. He's the main bad guy in the Carriers books. So from last year, you'll probably remember Pirate Bay. They come up against some pirate seagulls, and the artist is actually a guy named Luis Rivera. If I can hold that up.
No, hold it up.
And he lives in Oakland. He's a good friend of mine, and he did fantastic art. All of my books are high quality. I get good artists to do these things. I'm the co-creator and publisher of the Carriers books. They're available on Indie Planet or at shows. Let's see. And then the Watchers in the Night, they meet a group of owls called the Parliament. And there's a big philosophical battle between who's heroic, the non-violent Carriers or the super-violent Parliament. So...
Who do you come up with all the stories, or do you? Or
originally, I created and came up with some stories, but since then, real writers who really are top-notch talents send stories to me, and then I find the artists that go and produce the actual stories.
And all local, I'm assuming.
Local and guys all over the country, actually. Next up on the new list is Saturn and Orion, Book 1. I ran a successful Kickstarter for it. I did the art. This is my cover. And we did lots of fun rewards for the Kickstarter. Let me get some pages here. Right, so there's a little sample of Saturn and Orion. She's a technological genius, a story written by Jay Hewer. And I think I'm even more excited about this sketchbook I put together. I did a bunch of sketches for backers, and I took 60 of them, my favorites, and I put them together in a new Ben Ferrari's Saturn and Orion Book 1 sketchbook. So that's what you're looking at here. So big black and white, over 60 page book. So that's that. And then some puzzles. I actually am finishing a book called Dive Bomb. It's also a 60-page graphic novel with lots of short stories. And I did a puzzle, and the art for the cover is by a guy named Martin Montiel, and I just love it, so I made a puzzle out of it. And then a Carriers, which I've mentioned before, puzzle with 4 different pieces of art in that puzzle.
Yeah, so those weren't here last year. Those are definitely new. Yeah. So again, the website, where can they get everything?
indieplanet.com. You just make an account and you order a copy and they print and ship it to you. So there's no big stock.
Yeah, and you can, like you said, you can probably find it here at Flying Colors Comics also.
One of these days. That's the plan, to get into Diamond previews and the national distribution. I'm going to start with my Carriers books, actually. The Storm of the Century book I mentioned, I just got in the mail this week. So that's 3 books that I'm going to send to Diamond. If they give the okay, then those will show up in comic book stores in the next few months. That's my long-term plan.
Let's cross our fingers on that one. Now, we're also celebrating Jack Kirby, who would have been his 100th birthday today. So I'm sure in some way he influenced your art. So talk a little bit about Jack Kirby.
Well, Jack Kirby, how could you not be influenced by Jack Kirby? He created, most of the characters we know about. All the big ones at Marvel he created. It's just total inspiration. And I think what he does is basically give you the confidence to create your own characters, because he would come up with a name and design a character and a story, and there's no reason anybody can't do the same thing. And his characters have had longevity. And in that same spirit, I hope for my characters to have the same longevity. And of course, his artwork, is always by my desk. What can I say? Happy birthday, Jack. They're gonna have cake here, which is kind of cool. I did a sketch, black and white inked piece of art for a charity, and so that's inside as well.
Yeah, the Kirby for Heroes and charity is what's going on. Now, with Jack, towards the end especially, he and I've heard some stories from people that I talked to on the show, that he actually helped a lot of people break into the industry.
Oh.
Now, with you guys, like I said, it's local. A lot of the writers are local also. If somebody's watching and said, hey, I have an idea for a story where that could, are you taking... Would you listen to their story or?
Rarely do I take it, but I do. Exceptional stories, sure, and guys that I collaborate with already, definitely. But I've done 50 books, and I don't have I don't have a lot of extra time to expand on that scale. Right. Pilot Studios is me with a guy named Ken Latier who does the design on all the covers to give them a consistent branding look. But yeah, I always look at stories and I'll give feedback and art. People are always sending me artwork, and I'll give my honest critique on it. If that's what people are looking for, absolutely. And I'm happy to work with collaborators, absolutely.
Yeah, hold on, don't get discouraged. He doesn't want to read my stories, but how would give some advice to some of those who want to break in?
Okay.
How could they be you? Basically, is what I'm asking.
If you want to be me, you make comics, even if nobody cares. You make comics every night. I spend 2 hours every single night, and that involves emailing collaborators, that involves proofing stories, that involves making advertisements. I do my own ads, and you just learn things along the way. And so here I am at a comic book store with a big selection of books, and that leads to more opportunities. And and I think people can see that I know how to make books, and that's nobody's doing but my own. I've made this stuff, and that's the best way to break in. So you, as an artist, you can take this book that you drew for Pilot Studios, you can go to Marvel, you can go to IDW or Image and say, look what I did. I made this comic book with Pilot Studios, and they can see, oh, this guy can draw comics. Maybe we'll hire him. So that's one way lots of guys, one reason I should say lots of guys work with me is because they are going to get work into print. And that's half the battle. If you have something to show somebody, they know that you're able to complete a project. It's like anything in life. They want to know that you can start something and finish it.
Yeah, definitely. So the main thing is do it. I mean, you want to do comics? Do comics.
Make them.
Yeah, so again, it's Ben Ferrari from Pilot Studios. Ben, thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you.